My Hero Academia and Black Clover are premier titles from Weekly Shounen Jump that have served as mainstays for almost the past decade. Despite being almost 10 years old, they're both labeled as new generation shonen, although what that even means in the first place is a discussion for another day, since not a single soul can seemingly agree on it. However, they're labeled as that for a good reason. They are seemingly at the start of this new age of Weekly Shounen Jump that has seen the end of insanely popular series like Naruto and Bleach, and were seen as the successors to those, as both of the authors were heavily influenced by the big three. Fun fact, Yuki Tabata, author of Black Clover, and Kohei Horikoshi, author of My Hero Academia, themselves are quite good friends, knowing each other for quite a few years and kicking it off at the beginning of their respective serializations in Weekly Shounen Jump. They even did a volume cover swap quite a few years ago, drawing some of the main characters from each other's series. And before you say it, I know Bakugo looks a little whack. Trust me, Tabata's art has gotten astronomically better. In fact, he even drew artwork for My Hero Academia's exhibition, where he blessed us with Mirko in his style. Unfortunately, the fans of these series aren't friendly towards each other, but then again, no differing fandoms are. Hell, Naruto fans be trashing Boruto all the time when Boruto is literally its canonical sequel, but I'm getting off track. Tabata and Horikoshi have been in Jump for a while now, and it's no secret that working in Weekly Shounen Jump absolutely destroys the health of many mangaka. Mangaka doing weekly serializations are infamously known for having to work all the time, which honestly makes a lot of sense. They have to write an ongoing story on a weekly basis that requires a shit ton of planning, with even more being required as their manga get longer and longer and introduce more to the world that they are taking place in. And that's not even their biggest workload. On top of that, they have to draw, meet with editors, coordinate with assistants, along with, taking care of themselves, which most of them don't really do at all. Getting one page entirely finished takes an extremely long amount of time, one would imagine, but these two have to do up to 20 times that amount of work every single week. The average person might be able to power through this kind of schedule for maybe a few days, but doing it full time for almost a decade? That's asking for your health to deteriorate, and unfortunately, that's exactly what has happened to these two authors, although the way they're both going about it is entirely different. Horikoshi's insistent on powering through the final arc of My Hero Academia, trying to take as few breaks as possible and getting a chapter out each and every week, even if there's liquid pouring out of his ears. I'm not lying, he has literally done this within the past couple of months. Over the past year, it seems like half of his author comments are about how poor his health is, and it's reflected in the manga itself. Despite the art looking incredible as always, the page counts have dwindled more and more. Fans have expressed their frustration with how the manga's content has been going as well, claiming that it's been extremely rushed and that pacing is all over the place. Horikoshi himself had once said that he's planning on ending My Hero Academia by the end of 2022, although that clearly didn't happen. His health has continued to spiral since then, and it really does seem like he's trying to get to the finish line based on his serialization. He doesn't really take breaks that often like Gege, Oda, and Tabata do for health's sake, and insists on releasing chapters despite his health. Although taking breaks and releasing MHA chapters when his health is better makes more sense for Horikoshi from an outsider's perspective, I honestly don't blame him for trying to zoom to the end of My Hero. It's very evident that Weekly Shounen Jump has milked his soul of everything it has and is extremely burnt out. If he takes breaks, it's just extending the amount of time he has to spend in the Shonen Jump meat grinder, getting the series over with, and finally being able to fully rest after a decade of pure physical abuse would be pretty enticing if I was in his position. However, after seeing how much his health is dwindling, I really hope he takes an extended hiatus soon, or gets in the rhythm of taking frequent breaks for the sake of his health. He's a generational talent when it comes to his art, and for his own sake, he needs to take care of his health and stop neglecting it for the sake of hurrying up and finishing My Hero Academia. Taking breaks would not only make his health a lot better, but it would also hopefully increase the quality of MHA's final arc. A lot of breaks have been extremely abrupt compared to how other mangaka plan their breaks to take care of themselves. Fans all over the world have been begging him to take a break for a while now, but it doesn't look like he's going to be taking that advice anytime soon, unfortunately. Tabata, on the other hand, has leaned into the practice of taking planned breaks, although he does have a few abrupt ones here and there. He even took a 3-month hiatus last year after dropping chapter 331, which signaled the start of Black Clover's final arc, so that he could take as much time as needed in order to plan out the final arc. It was an optimistic move for Black Clover's future, as Shonen Jump gave him quite a bit of time to plan everything out and bounce back stronger than ever. However, in the background, Tabata was going through a lot of issues with his own health along with his family. He's a bit older than Horikoshi and has been going through a lot of health complications as well, especially recently. Over the past year, it seems like he's been taking more breaks than ever, and his author comments reflect on how his health really hasn't been the best. On top of that, he also has a wife and kid to take care of, both of whom have gotten sick recently as per Tabata's author comments. On top of working his ass off weekly for Shonen Jump, Tabata also has to take care of his hospitalized wife and daughter. Put those two things together, and that's a recipe for extreme stress and declining health. Declining health and a rough family situation over the past year have all culminated into Tabata making a decision after speaking with Shonen Jump. This decision involves Black Clover moving on from Weekly Shounen Jump and getting placed into another magazine. There had already been speculations of Black Clover moving away from WSJ after someone found a banner on the Weekly Shounen Jump page where Asta had been removed, but no one thought that it would happen this quickly and to this scale. Many theorized that Tabata would simply be moving on to Jump Plus, where manga like Chainsaw Man Part 2 and Chojin X are serializing. There, he'd be able to choose his schedule and release chapters at his own pace. Others theorized that Black Clover would be moving on to a monthly magazine like V-Jump, where Dragon Ball Super and Boruto are currently serializing. However, no one really predicted the magazine Tabata ended up going to, which is Jump GIGA. Jump GIGA's usually reserved for spin-offs, one-shots, or manga that are going to be ending within the next couple of chapters, as we've seen with Gintama. Although in Gintama's case, mangaka Hideaki Sarachi trolled Jump GIGA and went a little too long and finished digitally with its final 3 chapters. How often does Jump GIGA serialize, you may ask? Seasonally. As in, any manga running in Jump GIGA get 4 chapters a year. Whenever a new anime season starts, Jump GIGA drops its issue. This is way beyond any expectations anyone had for Black Clover being moved from Jump. But after reading Tabata's author comment about the switch, I'm glad he did it. He admitted that he physically cannot keep up with the weekly workload for WSJ, and that he wouldn't be able to end Black Clover how he wanted to if he kept up with the schedule. Switching to Jump GIGA would give him a lot more time to draft and draw his chapters, which will have better art than ever when they come out. The kicker is that we'd only be receiving 4 Black Clover chapters a year, which hurts considering that we've been getting over 10 times that amount over the past decade. Still, if it's for the sake of Tabata's health, it's completely worth it. I have no idea how he's gonna end the series and how many chapters are left though. Since it's Jump GIGA, one would think around 5 chapters, but given where we are in the final arc, that little amount would lead to a lot of rushing, which really sucks to think about. However, if he pulls a Sarachi and really takes his time with it, I'm all for it. This may not be too likely though, since the other seasonal magazine, Jump Square, also follows the same schedule and has series like Kekkai Sensen and Degree Man, both of which don't seem to be ending anytime soon. So I guess we'll have to wait for the December issue of Jump GIGA to see what route Tabata's gonna go with for Black Clover. All in all, it hurts seeing these extremely talented mangaka get bogged down by the hellish schedule of Weekly Shounen Jump and have their health affected by it negatively for so long. They're honestly beasts for sticking with the schedule for so long and fighting through their health problems to entertain us week in and week out. Even though I would have loved to see these two continue their consistent run in Weekly Jump, at some point you gotta realize that these two are humans too and that they need rest. It sucks that Weekly Shounen Jump still runs like this and doesn't really care about the health of the people bringing it all of its wealth. I wonder if there's ever gonna be any changes made to the schedule eventually, but given that it's Japan and the competition, that's just a pipe dream. For now, I urge Horikoshi to take the breaks that he needs and focus on his health. And for Tabata, I'm excited to see how he's going to adapt to this seasonal schedule and what kind of content we're going to be getting from him this December.